this video, I'm going to walk you through the best and cheapest ways to get the crazy benefits of purple corn and certain berries as well. I've previously made a video that did a deep dive on the science of purple corn, which had lots of references to scientific studies. If you have difficulty believing the claims that I'm making about purple corn in this video, I recommend that you go back and watch that one first. Now, how do you actually get the benefits of purple corn? So, purple corn is purple because it contains high amounts of anthocyanins, and the primary anthocyanin is called C3G. In the first mouse study I talked about, in mice that were fed a fattening diet, purple corn anthocyanins normalized the body weight, the insulin, blood sugar, leptin, liver fat, and liver triglycerides that were all strongly elevated in the group that got high fat but did not get the purple pigment. In the second mouse study, we observed a 65% increase in the size of the biceps femoris in the group of mice that had done swimming every other day for 2 weeks, relative to the group that did not get the purple pigment. And also, this group also had an increased time to exhaustion while swimming of 64%, meaning that they were able to swim for 64% longer before getting exhausted. We saw an increase in the number of mitochondria in mouse muscle cells by 22% in petri dish and 26% for human muscle cells. This is really important because mitochondria are the small power plants in our cells that make most of our energy. Another study observed an improved cold tolerance in mice, a limited fat gain in mice, and more brown fat in mice. This is important because brown fat is optimized to burn body fat to create heat. And they also observed an increased number and function of mitochondria in mice. Next study observed an aphrodisiac activity in male rats that were given C3G, and an improved memory in female rats that were given a combination of C3G and another plant. Next study saw a 20% reduction in the number of tumor cells in a petri dish when extract was added from either raw or cooked purple corn. A human study observed that anthocyanins have been correlated with the lower incidence of type 2 diabetes, and another study observed that the purple pigment reduced blood pressure by about 8 points in 2 weeks in overweight people with high blood pressure. So I've converted all the dosages from these studies to human equivalents. So we have amounts that range from 6 milligrams to 440 milligrams of the primary anthocyanin called C3G required to get these effects. So I'm aiming for 440 milligrams in order to have a high chance to get these effects as well. A study looked at the C3G content and various types of purple corn, and they ranged from 1.5 milligrams to 850 milligrams per 100 grams of dry weight. So in the following, I'm going to assume that you have gotten your hands on some nice dark purple corn, and that it contains about 500 milligrams of C3G per 100 grams. Another study determined that there was 50 to 75% losses in anthocyanins from tortilla preparation. So I'm going to assume the worst scenario, that we have a 75% loss from boiling and baking. This would mean that we're going to need to eat 350 grams of dry purple corn every day. This would also give us 1,000 calories. Purple corn is actually only number 10 on the scale of the highest sources of C3G, with elderberry being number 1 and chokeberry being number 2. Purple corn, however, is easy to eat in large amounts, and it has a decent concentration of C3G. Berries are higher generally, but mostly more difficult to eat in large amounts consistently. Plus, they also have a significant sugar content. However, extracts could be promising. Elderberry extract would make sense. Unfortunately, the one I found costs about $25 per day if you're going to get the right amount. Fortunately, there's a product that's made with the C3G from black rice that costs $100 per month to get the correct dosage. This is from a company called nootropicsdepot.com, and I have a link in the show notes. Dried aronia berries or chokeberries actually seem to be the best bang for the buck. It only costs 1/16th the amount that it would cost to get purple corn from AzureStandard.com plus international shipping to the EU for the same amount of C3G. So I've listed 4 main sources of C3G here. The first one is to just eat the 350 grams of purple corn every day, which would get you at least 440 milligrams of C3G, which was the effective dosage in the highest required study. This would cost you $130 per month if you're in the EU and $47 per month if you're in the US, and it would give you 1,000 calories per day. The second version is by far the most cheap one, which is to just eat 15 grams of dried aronia berries every day. This would get you 440 milligrams of C3G per day, and it would only cost you $8 per month. The easiest way is to just get the extract in capsule form. This costs you $100 to get the same amount. And you can also make your own elderberry syrup. This will probably require about 10 grams to get you the same dosage. You can also mix and match as you would like. You can also buy purple commercial chips, purple corn chips. Many places sell these, for instance, AzureStandard.com and iHerb.com. Now, most places are making these with seed oils, and there's a lot of disagreement about how healthy seed oils are. If you're more feel more safe with tallow or beef fat, you can get a version from masterchips.com that's fried in tallow. These don't taste quite as good, and they're a bit more pale, but hopefully that can be fixed at some point. You can make masa, which is corn dough, by cooking purple corn in water and calcium hydroxide. Afterwards, you will then strain and grind it with a wet mill or a manual grinder to make masa, and you can then press and bake the masa to make tortillas. I buy my purple corn kernels from AzureStandard.com, and I have a link below. It costs me $13 per kilo total for me in the EU, and it costs only $5 per kilogram if you're in the US. So if you're not in the US, you can get it by going to either myus.com or shopusa.com or any other forwarding service and creating an account. You will then get a personal address that you can have packages shipped to. Then you go to AzureStandard.com, order the products you want, and then give them the address that you just got, and they will forward it to you for a price. If you run into problems, just tell me, then I will help you. You can use this manual grinder to make the masa, which has the advantage of being cheap, but the disadvantage of having a risk of getting metal splinters into the dough, so you have to be aware of that. It's also a lot of hard work to do the manual grinding if you want to eat large amounts. You can get this one from Magenta.com. You can also get a larger stone mill. This one is called a molinito. It weighs 42 kilograms and it costs $2,000 plus shipping. Or you can go all the way to industrial production, which I really hope some more people are going to do. You can get purple corn flour. This brand Naturello is cheap and easy to find, however it's not very dark. It doesn't taste as good as making it from scratch using dark purple corn. Unfortunately, it's pretty difficult to find dark purple corn flour. There's a traditional Peruvian drink called chicha morada that's made by boiling purple corn with water, sugar, and a number of spices, and I have a recipe linked below. Now, if you're going to make a shake or a smoothie using either purple corn or berries, it's very important that you avoid fruits or other sources of an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase. This is an enzyme that destroys polyphenols, and since anthocyanins are polyphenols, mixing them with this enzyme is going to destroy the benefits that you would have gotten. So it's important that you don't mix purple corn or berries with bananas, avocados, pears, mushrooms, potatoes, eggplants, peaches, plums, sweet potatoes, and more. I have the recipes for the purple cornbread that I'm making and the purple corn shake that I'm making in my free Skool community called Lifeforce Academy, linked below. And you can ask me if you would like a video guide for any of these things. So now you have everything you need to be able to compete with Purple Corn Mouse and me. See you in the next video.